And gentlemen, welcome to the Tea and Crystals podcast. I am T.
And I'm Crystal.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are so happy to have you all back for another mini-sode of
hmm
this here podcast. I think we finna get right into it. Crystal, how you feeling?
Um, Probably shouldn't ask that question. As one can tell, I'm not 100%,
Yeah,
but I am here and I'm ready to
yeah.
share my stories and I'm
Okay.
excited. So, you're
Yeah.
starting first, right?
I sure am. I
All
sure am.
right.
I just thought we should let the folks know where you're at this evening. Okay. See, Crystal is fighting with one arm behind her back. So y'all give Crystal some grace. And speaking of grace, I understand how y'all feel about these mini-sodes. We're by the time y'all see this, we will have addressed it in full.
hmm
But we just really don't want to leave y'all with nothing. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? We'd rather give you something than nothing. I understand y'all love the full length episodes, but I think these mini episodes are a great compromise because Crystal and I, our schedules here at the end of the year, it gets
hmm
choppy.
Yeah.
It gets choppy. There's a lot of stuff that goes on around this time of the year. So we really, really hope that you all enjoy these episodes despite them being shorter. So without
Yeah.
further ado, let's go ahead, Crystal. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, I think we might have freaked him out a little bit with the first episode, and we were like, maybe should we do these more? Should we do these instead? And they were just like, whoa, 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 hold on.
Wait.
We were just joking. We were kidding.
Mm-hmm.
These
We
really
were
are
kidding.
essentially filler episodes for the
Yeah.
weeks that we are not able to do the full length episode. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
in the past, as we have done, skipping the week, we've created these mini-sodes so that you will always have some little bit of story to
Mm-hmm.
look forward to.
Because we can go back to that if y'all would rather. Okay, we
Stop
can do that.
threatening our
I'm
audience.
sorry. I'm sorry. All right. Let me behave. Let's get into the stories before I get us in trouble. This one comes from the subreddit r/relationship advice, and it is entitled "My boyfriend has a close female friend who blatantly dislikes me and makes no secret of it. I've reached a stage where it's her or me. How
Mm,
can I confront my boyfriend?"
it's never a good stage. It's never a good stage.
Ooh, strap yourselves in. All right. This is a little lengthy. I, 29 female, have been with my 30 male boyfriend for 3 years and we share an apartment. He has a female friend, Nell. This is in quotation, so I don't know if this girl's her real name, so I hope I ain't spilling your tea, girl. 34 female, and they were friends for years before I came along. I had no issue with their closeness. I have male friends and knew I'd be a hypocrite to leap to judgments. But at this point, I feel I'm justified in thinking the way I do about her. The first time I met her, it was extremely obvious Nell didn't like me. She came into the bar all excited to see my boyfriend before noticing me. Her entire demeanor changed. She shook my hand and dug her nails into my skin before ignoring me for the rest of the night. She even seemed upset at one point that I took the seat beside my boyfriend and quietly left halfway through the evening without even saying goodbye. So it's safe to say my first impression of her wasn't good, but I tried to reason with myself that not everyone gets along and I don't need to be friends with my boyfriend's friends. However, as time passed, it became really clear Nell's attitude towards me wasn't improving. She had a way of openly mocking me in front of groups of people, making side comments or loudly joking about my voice or appearance. My boyfriend would stand there and say nothing, and after the fact, when I asked him about it, he'd say that he had noticed. She also makes a show of hugging him and saying hello and goodbye, and not me. She would mix that kind of stuff in with smiles and basic politeness, so it was tough to articulate exactly what she'd done. I felt very much like I was back in high school. From that point on, I basically decided I didn't need to have someone like that in my life, so I'm just going to stop. So stop going to things that she was at. So I stopped going to things where she was at. Excuse me, it was missing a word there. I haven't seen her in about a year. My boyfriend still sees her regularly and they text often. I'm now at the stage where I fully believe that they have either dated in the past or have something going on now. I've tried gently bringing this up, but he denies that they never dated and makes me feel like I'm being jealous and bitter for asking. I ended up suppressing those feelings before something brings them up again, but I've reached the end of my tether with it. The final straw for me came the other day when my boyfriend left his phone open and I saw a text exchange between the two. Nell had sent him a heart emoji, and my boyfriend had written something about how he was thinking of her. I know I should have said something then and there, but I felt numb and decided to go to bed. I'm trying to work out how to handle it, and if it's possible that something is going on here. I'm basically at the point where I feel he either has to tell me the truth or restrict contact with Nell, or else I don't feel like I can maintain the relationship. I feel constantly disrespected and I want something to change, but don't know how to go about it. Any advice would be welcomed. And just before you start, Crystal, there is an update that's coming towards the end of the episode.
Mhm. Um, it's so hard for me to like give advice for this stuff because my immediate reaction is I'm listening to this and I'm over the relationship. I'm done with it. It's over. Like
Hmm.
hearing people you've been in this relationship for 3 years and this is how you felt the whole time. Who wants to live 3 years wondering and guessing and assuming and thinking my boyfriend and his best friend have or are hooking up?
Hmm.
I the You've been talking about feeling disrespected. The moment, I don't want to say the moment he didn't stand up to me the first time, because I understand when you're coming into a relationship where a friendship between two opposite sexes is like a big deal or a focal point can be an adjustment. And
Hmm.
so, I don't want it's going to be a period where people have to learn their new places in each
Hmm.
other's lives, and it's going to take some adjusting because ultimately the one who's the boyfriend is put in the middle, because now he's going to have to reevaluate how he receives this person who's never had to worry about boundaries before. But
Hmm.
now that there's a girlfriend, there are boundaries that have to be established. So it's a new dynamic that needs to be, you know, figured out. But it's been 3 years. And he wasn't willing to figure out any of those dynamics. He wasn't willing to listen to your concerns. He brushed them off. He was like, he was letting things go. He's making you feel like it's just you're being overly emotional. What he's making you feel like? Like you're just jealous. You're just this. You're just that. I, it would have been a
It's
no for me.
it's wild that he's not addressing it.
In
Like
any fashion.
he's just
He's
deflecting.
he's completely deflecting. So yeah, I
Hmm.
understand why you would be suspicious of this relationship. And by you stepping away from events where she's at, you've just created the perfect thing for him where he doesn't have to worry about you, but he still gets to see her all the time.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
guys really cater to these people's needs who don't give a shit about yours. And I never
Hmm.
understand that. Like, you know, you talk about relationships should be a partnership and should be between two people. But when you're the one who's always giving, like when I just,
Yeah, because it really makes you think like, okay, if he's not doing the bare minimum to make sure that I'm comfortable around this girl, like he don't really fuck with me like that. Like he
right,
obviously values the relationship with his friend, which to play devil's advocate, you know, you say y'all been dating for three
3 years.
years
Yeah.
and y'all live together. That's a significant amount of time. It
Yeah.
is. But in relation to how long he's been friends with this woman, and this woman, he is 30, she's 34.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably, a case of they've known each other for a good while.
Mm-hmm.
They probably met in a work setting or something like that. Um, so they probably have a really really tight relationship that is just platonic. So he
Right.
may put more value into that relationship because he don't know where things are going with y'all. You know what I'm saying? So he's not really willing to, because I mean, essentially, the girl is wrong. The girl is. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The friend is wrong,
Yeah.
but maybe from his perspective, he's like, I don't know if I'm willing to jeopardize my relationship with her for this, because
And
I don't. Because
I
to me, it
was
just don't seem like he fuck with you like that.
I was about to say, and I was with that in the beginning aspects of a relationship. When you're 3 years in, he's still not willing to do. You're 3 years in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when
Yeah.
is he gonna think that this relationship is worth it to be like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, friend, you got to back off a little because this is my girl. This is the woman I love.
Right.
Like, the
Yeah.
fact that he's not doing that for you at all, like, that speaks
Mm-hmm.
volumes right there. But I will
Yeah.
say that regardless of how he was in the beginning, how clueless some guys can be when it comes, she knew from the moment she met you what she was doing. And the fact that you didn't call her out when she dug her nails into you, I would have been like, damn, girl, you got some nails on you. Like, you just scratched the shit out of me. It would have been from
Right.
jump. Don't let
Yeah.
people play in your face like that just because you
Mm-hmm.
want to try to make a good impression. And no, if that's the impression they're giving you from the second they meet you, you let them know. You meet them head on. Damn, can I get my wrist? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
thought we were just shaking hands. Like,
Now I ain't gonna lie. You may
mm-mm.
have gotten away. That exact situation, you probably would have got away with it, because
Mm-hmm.
if you kept that sly shit up throughout the night, you would have been checked by the end of the night. You would have
Right.
been checked by the end of the night, because it started there, and that could I could have been like, you know what, maybe her shit is just a little sharp, and because I give strong handshakes because I was
Mm-hmm.
trained to give strong handshakes, so maybe it was just a byproduct of her strong handshake that it dug into me. The
Mm-hmm.
fact that she left in the middle of the night without saying nothing, it would have been fuck that hoe forever. Like
Mm-hmm.
and if we would have had got to the next function together, and you started doing all this kiki and kakakaing on my on my top,
Mm-hmm.
that's when it would have got funky, like
Yeah.
it would have
Like
been
I
up and
said,
stuck.
because I'm not a confrontational person, but when push comes to shove,
Girl.
for the most part, I can give as good as I get. So if you're making sly comments to me, I'm going to be making sly comments to you back. Like, we're going to be having war. It's going to be uncomfortable for everybody. I don't
And
care.
I am a witness.
Like, we're all about to be uncomfortable. I'm not going to be the only one
Mm.
who's uncomfortable or silent, because if I do get silent, if I get quiet, if I take it, if I'm just like, mm-hmm, yep, you can rest assured that's the last night for any of this. For any of it. As soon as we leave and you drop me off at home or whatever,
Oh
blocked.
yeah. Mm.
Everyone's blocked.
My
We're never gonna
God.
speak again.
My God.
Yeah. My advice, I know you have an update, and I'm really hoping it's gonna be that she's found the light and is living her best single life, because he
Well,
ain't worth it. And neither is she.
we will see.
We will
That's
see.
all I can say.
All right.
What you
Moving on
got
to
for
my
us?
story. I also have a bit of a lengthy one, but it is full. Like, there's no update as far as I'm aware. This was done a month ago, and this is from the subreddit Am I the Asshole? And it says, Am I the asshole for exposing my parents when they forgot about me on their wedding? I know this seems like a weird situation, but I just feel so angry and depressed that I feel the need to vent even if no one is listening. So I, a 17 female, was recently forgotten about on the day of my parents' wedding. My parents have been together for about 25 years, but they never actually got married. That's why when my dad, 50 male, proposed to my mother, 49 female, on their anniversary, which they have always celebrated on the date my mother found out she was pregnant with my eldest sister, even though they were already together before, everyone, including me, was elated and celebrated the occasion with great joy. This happened all the way back in February. They immediately jumped into wedding planning, decidingly very early on a small event in Hawaii with just the closest family and friends for an intimate ceremony. Almost immediately, my mother asked my sister, 25 female, to be her maid of honor, and my dad asked my brother, 22 male, to be his groomsman. I wasn't surprised or offended by this. My sister had always been a mommy's girl, and they both enjoyed spending time with each other, shopping and socializing, so they had a very close bond. And the same goes for my father and brother. They had always played football together and messed around with cars. My father even trained my brother's team for a while in middle school. They had always left me as the odd man out. I tried to insert myself on my family's hobbies and groups that they had within our home, but was always rebuffed. Maybe they could sense that my interest on their activities wasn't all that genuine, or maybe they just didn't care. Either way, I was used to being the last and least important member of my family. Mom had sis and dad had bro. My parents had each other, and my two siblings were closer to each other than they were ever with me, leaving me very lonely and isolated in my own home. During the preparations for the wedding, initially it was suggested that I be the flower girl, but my sister thought that role would be more appropriate for her daughter, which was 3 female. So that idea was very quickly tossed away. Later on, my maternal grandmother suggested that I might read a poem or do a little bit of a speech during the ceremony, but both my parents refused because they wanted the wedding to be low key and they didn't think a cheesy and sappy speech would fit in their vision, their literal words. I was still okay with all this, even though it hurt to know I would be the only member of the family to not actually be a part of the wedding party or have any role at all on that day. As the day approached, my parents and siblings got more and more caught up in all the wedding planning. I noticed my mom didn't invite me to go dress shopping, and that whenever they would have discussions about the venue or the event, I was left out. So I decided to see if they would realize that I wasn't being involved at all and kept quiet, waiting for them to ask me something, anything about the wedding, but that never happened. The wedding was set for 3 weeks ago, the end of August. The day before the departure, my mother casually asked if I had my luggage ready because we couldn't be late to the airport. I bluntly told her that I hadn't prepared anything. She got confused for a second and then snapped at me for not being prepared. I then asked her if I even had a ticket, and her face went pale. Yep, they hadn't even bought me a ticket, and I'm not even sure if I had a room or any accommodations once there. Even though I was the only person in my family without a stable income, I work as a part time babysitter. My parents had bought first class tickets for my siblings and the couple of other friends that were attending the wedding, but had forgotten me. My mother told me not to make a big deal out of it, that they can just find me a low cost ticket last minute from a cheap airline. But I just replied by asking her, then what? Do I even have a dress for the ceremony? She went with sis to buy hers and all the other female guests months ago, but I wasn't included. That's when my father came in and just told me to suck it up and that I'd never been a girly girl, so I could just wear whatever. I got mad at this because even though I'm not the most feminine girl on the planet, I would have loved to be included in such an important part of my parents' wedding, and it was about the fact that I was excluded for literally everything that had been going on for months. We all got into a fight with them calling me entitled, accusing me of making myself small intentionally so that they would forget me. Like that is a valid excuse for ignoring a child. They ended up telling me that if I was going to keep this attitude, I might as well skip the whole thing altogether. To which I responded with a defiant fine and went to my room. Next morning, they all left for Hawaii without me. The ceremony was really small, but they all posted loads of pictures on Insta and on Facebook about how perfect and magical that whole weekend was being. People realized quickly that I wasn't in any of the photos and asked my parents why, to which they replied that unfortunately I had caught COVID before the trip and had to stay behind. My blood boiled at this. I don't know why this was the straw that broke the camel's back for me, but it was. I decided to take a COVID test and published a picture of myself holding the negative test and captioned it, "Not sick at all, just forgotten." I tagged everyone that had questioned my absence from the trip and the wedding in the picture, and for good measure, also every person invited to it. I also wrote in the comments about how my parents had literally forgotten about anything to do with me until the day before parting and how they actually uninvited me. Most people were on my side and others couldn't believe it and thought there must be something more to the story than what I was saying. But one thing is for certain, I completely ruined my parents' wedding and their day was overshadowed by my confession. At first, I felt quite satisfied with myself for standing up on my own, but after a barrage of messages from my family calling me every name in the book, and later, when they came back, them furiously attacking me for my immature actions and my spoiled behavior, my pride deflated quickly and I began to feel awful. I hate my family, and I hate being in this house, but I'm a minor and can't leave just yet. I do feel like I could have handled the situation better, though, and how I feel so depressed that I'm second guessing everything I did, from not speaking up before to the way I exposed them. I also feel guilty for the lack of connection between all of my family and me, and maybe I could have done more. So am I the asshole for ruining my parents' wedding when they forgot about me?
So I'm gonna just go out on a limb here. This may be a controversial statement. Um, Maybe you suck. I ain't gonna hold you. It sounds like you suck. I I'm just getting off of this letter. You're not fun to be around. You're not enjoyable. You don't add anything to the atmosphere that anyone would take any note of. And I absolutely see why your family don't fuck with you, girl. Because to me, right, there were if you really, really, really wanted to be involved, right, you would have made an effort, right? Where you saw where you were being left out of things. Hey, y'all about to go to such and such. Like, let me tag along. Like you sat back. I ain't gonna hold you, and it's gonna sound crazy, but it's the truth. You sat back and waited to make yourself the victim. You, Crystal, she literally did. She literally said it in the letter. Well, if y'all are gonna forget about me, I'm just gonna make myself forgettable, and then get mad when they forget about you, girl. Hello. If you standing in a dark room with a flashlight and you don't turn that bitch on, you can't get mad that it's dark in that hole. You have the tool to shine a light in that dark room. Like, let them people know, hey, this is that. As crazy as it sounds, I know you are their child, and I know that they have. I'm assuming she's the youngest. She's the youngest. They have a different relationship, especially with that oldest child. They went through a lot of shit. You said they had a shotgun situation with that oldest child. They went through a lot of stuff with that child. That child, your older sister probably grew up with your mom more like a friend than a child, depending on when they had her. They don't have that relationship with you, girl. They just the relationship between parents and their kids can differ. Okay. There's things that my mother will tell me that she will not tell my siblings. Okay. We were just in the kitchen gossiping yesterday. Okay. I'm making dinner and she called me up. We was gossiping. Okay. And I know she don't do that with my siblings. You know what I'm saying? Because she and I have a different context to our relationship. You know what I'm saying? That she don't have with my younger siblings. I'm a few years older than them. So I can see it. And the thing that irked me, I mean, yes, it hurts your feelings. I get it. You don't want to be forgotten. But this letter to me is coming off as not so much that you wanted it to be a part, but you low key turning it into what you making it what about me, which is taken away from what they have going on. This is their train on their tracks. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Be like, well, what about this diversion that I made over here that I want? Girl, get on that train. Get on that train, get with the program. If you see her going out shopping with everybody else, the time for you to ask about your outfit was then. You noticed they might forget about me. They might forget about me. So let me go ahead and interject here and say, hey, I are we gonna get my dress? Like, when are we gonna go get my dress? Oh, okay, we can go get my dress on Saturday. Great, fixed. Who we flying with? Hawaiian Airlines. Great. Where we sitting at? I, Chris, you shaking your head over there. I really want to know what you got to say as the counterpoint, because I'm not seeing. I'm seeing where the parents fell short. I am seeing it. I'm seeing it. They were wrong for forgetting about their child. Da, 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 da. But it wouldn't have gotten this far if you hadn't sat back and waited for them to forget about you.
No.
If you knew it was going to happen, if you knew it was going to happen, I'm going to sit here in the middle of this road where all these cars at. I know if I sit out this bitch, I'm finna get run over. But somebody should notice me and not hit me.
How did she know it
Get
was going to
up.
happen? But how did she know it was going to happen?
She said it herself in the letter. She said that she sat by and
But
made
how did
herself
she
forgettable
know?
because she knew that they was gonna forget her.
Yes, but how did she know that if she just did nothing, they would forget about her? Because they've been doing it to her
Because
for
it's a
her
pattern.
whole life.
That's my
Exactly.
point.
She is a
That's what I'm
child.
saying.
What child needs to make themselves known in their own family? That is never a thing. She has grown up being forgotten her whole life. When was she supposed to start making herself known? When she was 4? When she was 8? When she
That's
was
not what I'm
12?
saying.
When she was 17?
That's
Like,
not what I'm
at
saying.
no point is this okay. She is the
That's not what I'm
child.
saying.
But it
That's not what I'm
is.
saying.
Like, that's what you're
That's
saying.
not what I'm not saying.
You're saying you're
that
making
her
yourself
being
the
forgetting
victim.
her
Like,
whole
why
life.
didn't you make
In
yourself
this
know you
situation,
knew
if-
you were going to be forgotten? Because she's always
for this
forgotten.
wedding.
That's
for
not
this
the
wedding.
point. It doesn't
For
matter.
this wedding,
It doesn't
you did make yourself the
matter.
victim because
It doesn't-
you saw.
No,
she
they
said-
made
she
her the
expressed-
victim by constantly forgetting her. Who wants
What
to have to
I'm
go
saying
up to someone and
is-
be like, "Hey, I heard that you were going dress shopping. Can I go too?" No, I don't want to have to ask my mom to be included in the dress shopping when I should have been included. That is the most
But
embarrassing thing.
if you care about going to this wedding,
Of
right?
course she cares. But
If
who
you care
wants to
about
go
going to
to a
this
place
wedding-
they don't feel welcomed?
Then don't go.
She
don't
didn't.
do all this shit. But didn't do all this shit on Facebook. Let it be what
But
it
she's
is.
not gonna. Why? They lied about it. They're the ones who decided to be like, "Oh, she got COVID."
If you like,
I'm letting them
if
know.
y'all
No,
ain't fucking
they
with me,
forgot
I'm
me.
not fucking with y'all.
But
Then let it be
that's
what it
not a
is.
mindset she's having right now. She's
The
17.
parents offered a solution.
No,
They said, we will buy you a plane ticket.
a bare minimum. They
turned it
bought
down.
everybody else a first class ticket. They thought of everybody else, but
But
not
the
their
solution is
youngest
there.
child.
At the end of the day, you
No.
still had the option to go. And
She
you
did
said
what
no.
she was supposed to. She was forgotten by her family, and she let everybody know she didn't do anything wrong in this situation. Absolutely
Then why
not.
would you? But why would you complain if the option is given to you? You can still go to this wedding.
She only complained.
We forgot about you.
She only complained when they tried to cover it up, and she said something and stood up for herself. And now they're mad at her for doing that. That's
when
when
you say
she
tried to
complained.
cover it up.
When they tried to cover it up by lying about it.
Oh, and say
She
had
wasn't going to
COVID.
say anything. She wasn't
But
posting
I'm
about
saying
it. She wasn't
before
doing
that-
anything. What about before that?
She could have
She
gone
was
to
once-
the wedding.
Who wants to go somewhere they're not welcomed by their own family? By
But-
not remembering her to be a part of the wedding, by not including her in dress shopping and any of the planning, by not buying her a ticket, a dress, accommodations, not thinking of her at all because she's 17 and a minor and can't do half these things herself, by not even thinking of her. What part of any of that scenario says, we want you included in this event because you're family? Nothing of that says that. So
What
as a
I don't
person
appreciate about it,
who
right?
is hold on, as a person who's constantly being essentially told, but my own family, that we don't think of you, you're so forgettable. Like, why am I going to keep putting myself out there just to constantly be rejected? I mean, even the grandparent was like, well, why doesn't she say a poem?
She's
No,
not
that's
putting
not.
herself out there. That's the point.
She shouldn't have
She's
to,
watching
though,
all of this shit go by.
because it's been happening her
She's
whole
noticing
life.
every single
She
thing that
said-
she's being.
She said she tried to include herself in things with her mom and her sister growing up and with her father and her brother, but they just didn't happen. It was awkward.
But
It was
I'm
weird.
I'm not talking about her upbringing.
But
I'm
that goes
I'm not-
hand in hand with what you're saying.
Listen, let me just structure this for you. Okay, let me just structure this for you.
Give me
because
your wife on here.
No, because
I
we
know
arguing
she
two
is
different
bleeding.
things. We arguing two different things.
But we're not.
I understand. Let me explain it to you, right? Let me explain to you where I'm coming from, because I think you're getting caught up in her upbringing, the emotions of it all. I'm not talking about that. I know where she's coming from in feeling this way, right? I understand that there's context for her childhood. That's understood. I'm not arguing that. They are wrong for that. That is fucked up, and I understand how she got here. However, in the context of this letter, in this wedding, She is seeing everything that's happening for this wedding go by her window. She's seeing them going dress shopping and leaving her out. She's seeing them being picked for positions in the wedding and it not working out. She, and it, I mean, her parents get to decide what they want in the wedding. If they don't want her to read no poem, I wouldn't want no fucking poem read at my wedding either. Like, you got to get over it. But that's when you ask, okay, well, I really want to be part of the wedding. What can I do? You're
Mm-hmm.
watching these things go by, and you're just like, oh well, I'm not gonna be part of that. I'm not gonna be part of that. And then at some point, you say you stopped trying when you never were. You weren't actively trying.
But she was.
You were waiting to be invited. You were waiting to
No.
be invited to participate. That's where that Crystal.
No.
That is
You
what she was waiting
can't.
on.
You can't put this scenario, this wedding, and her child as two separate things. They all go together. She's already said she's tried to make efforts to be in her family's life in some way, and it didn't work out because they each had a child already, and they always excluded her. At some point, yeah, when you're constantly rejected, this is just another thing to be rejected about. The grandparents even try to give her a role. If they said they don't want a sappy poem, they should have been like, okay, but we can think of something else for you. But when they turned it down, they just continue to move on. They at no point are they thinking, how can we include her as well? If it didn't work out, they just moved on.
I agree with you. I said it's messed up that the parents aren't proactive in involving her. I get that. I'm saying even from her childhood, it's messed up. But if her point in the letter is that she really wanted to be a part of this wedding day, right? There were opportunities there for her to be a part of. That
It's
I mean,
not
that's
her place. It's not. She's a child at the end of the day.
got it. Got it. So
I'm sorry.
and that's why you know what? No, I can't get with it.
I think
You had the option to get on a plane and go to that wedding if you wanted to.
no.
There's
If
nothing
she
wrong
was-
with you
if
being
she
their
was-
child and not being part of the wedding.
If
To
she was
me.
out of the house, if she was older, I would agree with you. She would have had her opportunities to do. But at the end of the day, everything that could have been included depended on her parents doing it. And it doesn't matter. She shouldn't have to put herself out there, is what I'm saying. She should have been thought of. And it's not her fault if she doesn't have the confidence or the ability to do that because she's grown up
I'm not blaming
being.
this girl for that.
But it feels like
I'm
you
saying-
are.
No, what I'm saying is when you had the opportunities to make the change, when you were offered that plane ticket and you turned it down, that is your fault.
No.
You could have gone to that wedding.
And to a wedding that you're unwanted for, though. You're asking her to be
Then what's the
lower than
problem?
everybody. Exactly what she said. She was unwanted.
If you feel unwanted and you feel unwelcome, scrap it.
She did. She was letting it go. She wasn't even saying anything. They were the ones who were like, oh, by the way, she's not here because of
But
COVID.
you ain't
And
let it go.
she didn't let it go because of that. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. She said herself. It does.
What does that have to do? What is that doing for you? You going on Facebook and be like, oh, I don't have COVID.
You don't get to
Fuck
tell
like-
somebody when they decide that they've had enough of your abuse, essentially, your forgetfulness, your hurtfulness. She wasn't saying anything. She stayed home. She decided not to go, but then they said, oh, she had COVID. And she said, I don't know why, but that was the straw that broke the camel's back. That was when I decided that was enough. At some point, everyone reaches that. When you've been dealing with something that's hurting you for so long, eventually you get a breaking point. And for her, that was that. That's when she decided to let it all out to Reddit and to the internet or whatever. I think she has the right to complain. Absolutely. You know?
She has the right to react. Her feelings are valid.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, there were a lot of opportunities for you to remedy this situation if you really felt strongly about going to their wedding. If you really did.
Like,
if you didn't give a shit about going to the wedding, then girl, that's a whole nother thing.
I don't think she ever did. She wanted to go. I think she wanted to go, but she wanted people to want her to be there, and they didn't. And I don't think
that's not the case.
But it is. How are you not the case when you didn't?
No, I'm saying she know that they're not going to do that. She knows that they're not going to do that. You said her entire life they have never shown her that she's been wanted. If
So
she
then why
wanted
are
to be
you
a part of this wedding, if she wanted to be a part of this wedding, you know that these people was gonna do this to you. She said it in the letter. You know that they're gonna do this to you. Why would you sit back if you really wanted to go to this wedding? Why would you sit back
I
and let
think
all
she
this stuff go
wanted them
by
to want her to
and turn
go.
down the opportunity? Because she turned down the opportunity to go on that plane because of all the things that passed her by, all the things that had to do with the wedding that she opted out of
No, she didn't opt out.
because
She
she
was
was being
forgotten.
excluded. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think
She
you
was being
are.
excluded. Chris, I
I
really
think
need you to listen to me.
I
I
need
really
your
need you to listen
wife
to
to
me.
translate because it's not happening for me. I don't understand what
No,
you're
I really
saying.
need you to listen to me.
We're already past our 30-minute mark.
And you know what? I'm not gonna do. Y'all gonna have to catch up on the next minisode to get the other half of this story that I got. Because I really need you to listen to me and understand. Because I think you get. I really think you getting caught up in the emotion of it,
I don't understand how you
of
can't
her
though.
emotion. No,
But you're
what I'm
still
saying,
like blaming her.
I am. The
You
only thing I'm blaming her for is not taking the opportunities that were in front of her. I'm not blaming her for being left out.
but she
I never once
decided
said that.
but she decided those opportunities weren't worth it. She said no. She said no.
And
I'm not
that's
going
where
to
I'm
be a
at with
second
okay.
class
So let
citizen
me
and
let me
sit
just
in the back of the
explain.
bus while you guys all sit in first class because you forgot me.
And there we are, right? Okay. Got it? So let me explain this to you, right? From her childhood, we have talked about she knows that she is never ever going to be the default is never to involve her. She's never going to be included in these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And during this, we're going specific to this wedding process. She has seen the same thing play out, the same tune that has played out her whole life, but she values being a part of this wedding. She expressed it in the letter. She wants to be a part of this wedding. She's seeing that things are happening, the dress shopping, the this, the that is happening without her. She's not really saying anything about it. She's watching it happen. She gets tired of watching it happen and decides, you know what? Instead of even making an effort, I'm gonna because we've all been in those places. If you're gonna keep on doing this shit to me, I'm just gonna sit back and watch it happen because she knew it was gonna come to a head. She knew it. She knew it was gonna come to a point where she was so forgotten that she couldn't be a part of this. There's no other way for her to think so because you said it yourself. She can't do none of this shit herself. So she know if she sit back and she waits until they get to the end of the planning, the process, and everything else, she ain't gonna have shit. So when it finally came to a head and she had that conversation with her mom or whoever it was and brought up the fact she knew they ain't get her no fucking ticket. The issue for me comes in if the point of the letter is that you wanted to be a part of that wedding. Forget all the opportunities that you had leading up to it to ensure that you were a part of it. Right? Instead of asking, hey, can I go get a dress with y'all? Instead of asking all this stuff, you sat back and let them do what they always do to you, right? And I think this is the point where we're disconnecting. I'm talking about if the point of the letter is that she wanted to be a part of this wedding. If the wedding itself was something that you really wanted to be a part of, when they offered you that plane ticket for you to go and attend the wedding, I don't understand if the wedding was that important. If you really wanted to be part of this ceremony, if you really want to be part of the wedding, really want to be part of the celebration and stuff, which is what comes across in this letter, why didn't you take the opportunity? I know you're gonna be oh girl, you're gonna be sitting in third class. You still going. Why wouldn't you take that opportunity to be part of the wedding? Is it because your feelings are hurt to the point where you just don't want to participate anymore? Is that where we're at? Because that I can understand. But to say, essentially she couldn't go because her family always does this to her, and just it ain't cutting it for me.
I
Because I'm like,
think
at the end of the day, you had an opportunity to be part of this wedding. You
I
had
think
it in front of you.
I think you're putting too much stock in her wanting to go to the wedding with this letter being about it. Because I for me, at this point, when everything has
Mm,
been said and done and passed, yes, the camel that the thing that started the situation was the wedding. That's just the event. I think in writing this letter she was trying to showcase that, yeah, she at the time when it was happening she was wanting to be a part of it, but at this point when she's finished writing the letter, like, I
mm,
don't think that's the emotions that it is. I think it more has to do with once again being excluded from her family.
mm,
I don't know. Me personally, like, I just don't think she did anything wrong. Like, she's not complaining that she wasn't a part of the wedding. I mean, she is, but it's like, I don't think that's the real focal point. I think the real focal point is that once again, something family is happening and I am forgotten. I am not a part of it. Like, I'm the least thought of
excuse me.
person, you know? And like I said, it sounded like once again she was going to internalize it and just move on and not think about it. But it was because they
Mm,
then decided to make up an excuse to cover their asses to make it seem like they're still a picture perfect family when in reality they never have been. That is why she's on here complaining and saying these
mm,
things, because it's not the fact that she's not at the wedding, it's the fact that she was just never thought of in the first place. And people on the outside are they're commenting and they're like, "Oh, where's so and so?" And they probably make it seem like they're this one big happy family when in reality they are the happy family, not her. And she's just tired
mm,
of people thinking that. Especially
mm,
considering, I'm assuming, because they were able to afford first class tickets for them, a family of 4, to Hawaii and friends. I'm assuming these people are a little well off. And
mm,
we all know how people of status like to be perceived
mm.
in the real world. So for them, the image is everything,
Yeah.
type thing. But I just don't like when we try to, it just feels like we're trying to place blame on her for not taking action. But she shouldn't have to. Like, this is her family. It should have been included. And me personally, I know what it's like to want to be a part of something and have to, and it was constantly ignored when these things happen, and then finally get tired of it and say, can I come too? And even though the person says yes, going doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel any better because I know I'm going, but I'm not actually wanted by these people that I'm going with, because I had
Mm,
to essentially had to force my presence on them. And that's what it feels like when I'm there. I can't enjoy
mm,
the situation that much because I feel I've forced my presence on these people
mm,
to be able to participate in this event that I wanted to go. So it's like, a part of me is like, what was the point of even asking and participating? Because even though I'm here and I'm here knowing that I wasn't wanted.
mm.
I guess that's why I'm like, I feel like she was damned if she did or damned if she didn't, and she just decided not to.
And
And I
you know
don't
what?
fault her for that.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from in an overall sense, right? Because I agree with you. The parents is totally wrong for doing her like this. And I think we've had a conversation like this before, where I'm coming from a very specific point of view for it was specific context, right?
Yeah.
Me for the wedding, because I'm just going off of what the letter is telling me.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to therapize this girl's life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm talking about this wedding, and although I get what you're saying for you know eventually asking to be part of something, but then feeling like, oh, well, I don't really feel good about being here because I feel like I forced myself on the situation. But again, in the context of this wedding, I feel like that was appropriate. And that's
Right.
and that's where I find fault with OP. I
Mm-hmm.
do. Because if you wanted to be there, you could have been there. You could have.
I think the reason why I
You would
don't,
have you would have felt some type of way when you was there, or you would have had the time of your life. Maybe that could have been the turning point for you and your family. I don't know.
yeah.
I can't say one way or the other. I can't say one way or the other.
See,
I'm just saying an opportunity was there, and I think it's you're by not going, you're taking away that 25% chance that this could have been a catalyst for a new chapter in your relationship with your family. You
but
took that off the table for yourself. And I can't get with that whole, you know, it's never going to happen, so I'm never going to try.
feel like
I can't get with it.
you're by having that thought, you're putting the burden on her to repair the relationship. Because she didn't go, she missed an opportunity for it to turn out good. But it seems to rest on her shoulders.
But it
And
is going to rest on her shoulders, Crystal.
but it shouldn't
Because
have to.
it
She's
shouldn't have to, but the
17.
reality is her parents have shown her whole life. They're never going to do it. They're not going to do it.
And I
If she wants to be the change, she's going to have to be proactive and try to make it. And if she can't, she's gonna have to let that relationship go.
right.
She can't now because she's underage. She's dependent on them.
Mm-hmm.
But we know we 17 years of her feeling this way,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take her pushing and being like, listen, we need to repair this. We need to fix this. Otherwise, you're going to sit there and you're going to be forgotten about
Mm-hmm.
the rest of your days. They are not going to change it. As fucked up as it is, I agree. It's fucked up. But nothing about it is going to change unless you change it. Unless you try to change it. And if they're still against it, then you're gonna have to let it go, which is where I'm coming from with this wedding. You know that they're not going to make you a priority in planning this wedding. It's not gonna happen. You have to advocate for yourself to ensure that you are. It's fucked up. I know it is. It's fucked up. But you saw what happened. Again, they disregarded everything about your being. You being a part of the family, an essential part of the family, the immediate family, the
Mm-hmm.
youngest child. But you saw what happened. They left your ass behind. And I'm saying, you know, it's like a tornado coming through your yard every afternoon at 3 o'clock, and you got lawn furniture out there, and you know that bitch come across your yard at 3 o'clock. And you just like that tornado shouldn't. It's just not right that it comes through and it wrecks my backyard every day.
Mm-hmm.
And you just sitting there and watch that bitch come through your backyard and tell your shit up. You have to advocate for yourself. If nobody else in the family is going to do it, or you gonna get hurt you gonna get hurt 10 times out of 10. And you have to be proactive about it.
Mm-hmm.
In this specific situation, you have, if you, I don't know, you just haven't had anybody in your life to give you that lesson.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't. That's where I'm coming from with it.
Mm-hmm. I get what you're saying to an extent, but I still just don't feel like they're wrong for venting and feeling the way they're feeling.
No, I know they're not wrong for writing this letter. No,
But
I don't.
it just seems like sometimes when you're saying that, when you're like, you know, I can't get with it because you didn't take the action. Like, at the end of the day, I feel like she was damned if she did and damned if she didn't, because if she took the action, she's continuing to enable her parents' treatment of her by saying it's okay. Even though you treat me like shit, I'm still going to put a happy smile on and let the world think we're still this perfect family. I'll sit in the back quietly. I'll come to the wedding and sit in the audience. I'll find myself, my stuff, and I'll be okay with you continued neglect of me. But by staying and not doing anything and then calling them out later, people are like, well, why didn't you say something in the first place? Why didn't you just go? This was your opportunity. You should have went. It's like, I just feel like she's in a position where she's kind of blamed in either situation somehow. And I don't blame either one of us for that. I just feel like I do feel like she is a victim, and I feel like maybe she's just realizing that, and she's finally putting that into words. And maybe it's too much all at once, because it's not like she's been telling people this. This is all coming out. It's like a vomit, and it's linked to this one event. But I don't know. That's just where I'm at with it.
I'm just looking for a victim of neglect, because I'm trying to find. I'm like, what is she a victim of? But it's neglect. That's even a strong word for me.
But
it's even a strong word for me.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you're still looking at
Yeah.
like, I mean, I don't see her as a victim at all.
No, don't put that on me. Don't put that on
You
me.
just did.
I was shrugging my shoulder because I was saying I don't know what word to put on it. I'm not saying because it's just neglect. That is not what I was doing. Don't project that on me. Cause you gonna have these people out here thinking I'm struggling because I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a word to put on it because I don't know what this girl home life is like.
Yeah,
this may be one aspect of her life where it's the forgetfulness and different things like that when it comes to activities. But maybe this girl living a 5-star pimp suite, she get everything she want otherwise.
right.
But when it comes to these specific things, she's feeling left out. And I don't have any other context other than the fact that she feels left out. But you can live a very privileged life.
Yeah.
And still feel left out of things within your family, which is why I'm not trying to give it too much. Like I'm not trying to, accuse her parents of neglect, abuse, anything like that, because those are strong words based off of this letter. And I'm just trying to be very careful. If somebody reads the transcript of this podcast, that I'm not just throwing words out there. You know what I'm saying? When I don't know if they apply. I'm not trying to TikTok this thing because they like to throw the words out there.
Yeah.
And they don't always apply.
Right.
I'm just from what I got from this letter, it was about 4 paragraphs. That's all I can give them. That's
Well, I'm excited to see what our audience thinks on this full episode of the Tea and Crystals podcast.
Yeah.
And how they feel about this story. And where they lie with it. And maybe you guys can help me and Timmy interpret each other's words.
And I really hope that you all get the nuance in what I was saying. Because I am not trying to blame this girl for her circumstance. I really need y'all to understand it. And I hope that y'all listen to this point of the podcast. I'm not trying to, that is not what I'm doing. I just want this young lady to advocate for herself.
Yeah.
You have to take those opportunities. Otherwise, you're stuck in the hamster wheel that is your life.
Yes, I get that. I do hope she is able to advocate for her life. But I also understand if she's feeling too down or kicked too many times to muster that type of energy to do so. But yeah. And just so you guys know, I was about to say, just so you know, me and Timmy are fine. We're good.
Oh, girl.
This isn't the end.
This is a Tuesday.
I know people.
Okay, this
people
is a
are
Tuesday. No.
Are they okay?
Crystal knows me. I'm not. I I am going to clarify myself. Ain't nobody finna put. I'm trying to make sure that what's going out here is what I say, what I mean, and I mean what I say.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want nobody misconstruing or trying to take me out of context. Okay, listen to that whole conversation. I did not change my stance not one time. I added context and I tried to explain it another way. But I said the same thing the whole entire time. And so did Crystal.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand where Crystal coming from, but I think I think Crystal and I we're talking about the same situation, but we're just coming at it from different uh scopes and perspectives.
Yeah. And it might be because, like I said, I can understand on a smaller, much smaller scale what this girl is going through, as I've been
Mm-hmm.
in these very, very similar situation with family members that I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted attention from, and they just didn't want to give it to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it to an extent. But I
Yeah.
guess we can no longer call this a mini-sode. This has now become
Nope.
a full
It's a
episode.
full um yeah. So yeah.
The debate
We'll
was
talk
hot.
afterwards. But yeah, it's yeah.
Take us out of here.
Yay! Thank you all for listening and joining us for another episode of the Tea and Crystals podcast. If you like what you heard, please leave us a 5-star review and a written review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you are listening. If you like what you saw, make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you have any questions, comments, or you would like to share your own story, you can do so by sending us an email to teaandcrystal@gmail.com. That's TEAANDCRYSTAL at gmail.com. Subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Facebook by searching Tea and Crystals Podcast. Follow us on TikTok at Tea and Crystals Podcast and on Instagram at Tea and Crystals Pod. Make sure you look in the description wherever you are listening or watching for all the links. Now, Crystal, is there anything else you want to say to the people before we get the hell up out of here?
I really do want to hear what you guys think about any of these stories, but obviously about the last story and about each of our points of view. So definitely hit the comments up. Have your own little debate. We will definitely be keeping an eye on it and responding back as quickly as we can. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I know I did. I certainly enjoyed it. It's always a
I
good
had a
time.
good
I mean,
time.
it's fun when we agree. It's fun when we're able to shit talk with each other. But I think sometimes it's nice to break it up and have these different views of
Opposing
things.
views.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's really nice. I know all of you have logged off already, but thank you anyways. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Oh, there we go.